Welcome everybody. So this week I'm finishing out my Linux desktop enterprise solutions series, which started with CentOS 7 and then went to Debian Jessie. Originally I was going to look at OpenSUSE 13.1, which I mentioned here in this blog post. The whole idea was to look at stable Linux distributions as enterprise desktop solutions so that you could ditch Windows 7 and Windows 8 and just go with something really strong, solid, that wouldn't crash on you. The problem is I couldn't do OpenSUSE 13.1. I wasn't able to install it. I tried it about 3 or 4 times and had no luck whatsoever. So what I ended up doing is just going straight to the Ubuntu series. And, well, since I'm going to go and talk about it, let's talk about CentOS 7. Now, CentOS 7 was extremely stable. My video is over here at linuxbookpro.com, and you can look at my initial thoughts on it. The plus side, I didn't have a single crash, single problem, super fast. Downside, you only have access to the software in the repositories. There's no RPM Fusion at the time of recording that video available for CentOS 7. But if you don't need anything extra and CentOS 7 meets your needs, I thought it was a good desktop experience. And I had no problems with it. Same thing with Debian 8 Jessie, super solid, stable, didn't have any issues with it. My only concern was I have a 1366 by 768 desktop, and as you can tell right here, and one of the problems with Debian in general, or not Debian, but GNOME, is that they really want you to have these huge panels. And let me see if I could find the segment where I had some video of my email browser being utterly useless due to the size. Come on, where are you? Oh, here's a perfect example. So this is the GNOME video. So let me full screen this really quick. Let's see here. See, I'm self-hosting this, so it wasn't as... So you can see right here that it takes up way too much space in your email. That was the only downside. Other than that, I could have went with XFCE, but I went with the desktop, the default desktop environment, and it just doesn't work out for 720p. Now on the flip side, Ubuntu makes better use of screen real estate. So, I mean, you can go in here, check out the dashboard, which is fairly useful. It pops up everything that you've been working on recently. So I have a photo of somebody that I was working on at work, and some of my screen recording tests. It makes better use of just screen real estate than GNOME 3.16, but that's not to say it doesn't have its flaws, right? I mean, I had a few crashes in the 1 week that I was using it. Mostly it was web browser based and related to some script in the background that just wasn't working out. But other than that, I found it stable enough. You know, I've got KeyPass integrated in here, so you could see that I've given up LastPass for now, and it was working pretty well. It looks good. The theming is solid. Let me open up Thunderbird. It makes slightly better use of screen real estate, and you can see a bunch of like spam coming in to my account. So. In fact, this is, okay, this is some notes I sent to myself on screen recording with libav. But it's a little bit better with the screen real estate. And despite the fact that it's not as stable as Debian, I found it very useful. Again, I guess my final thoughts on this whole thing would be, whoops, just get rid of it, is to look at what software you're going to need. I found that Ubuntu was easiest to set up, and I was working in it very quickly. Debian took a little bit more work, but was far more stable. So, there's fewer updates over the course of time, right? I mean, we all get kind of busy doing updates on the system and get a little frustrated when there's unnecessary updates every 3 or 4 days. And I found that Debian Jessie was a nice in-between between CentOS 7 and Ubuntu 14.04. In the end, despite the fact that I didn't like GNOME 3.14 on my laptop in Debian Jessie, I think I would go with Debian Jessie. You just go in there and you add the non-free repositories and the contributing repositories, and that will fill in all the gaps in software that you might want to use, like Pithos, Audacity, things that rely on MP3 codecs, which you can't get in CentOS 7. And it's stable. In the end, it's just all about stability. I would just go in there and go with XFCE instead of GNOME 3.14 on a 720p screen. If I had a 1080p laptop screen, then I'd definitely stick with GNOME. I liked the experience. Ubuntu, a similar desktop experience. Online search results is literally just awful, right? So let's say you're just using it to launch an app. You end up with, search results that, honestly, I mean, this Mac 3, what is the chance that I'm going to be looking up this stuff, right? I mean, I guess if I was doing a search for something Linux, well, let's do something better, right? Let me do a search for Triskel. Great, I got a desktop photo. That's all I got from it. So the scopes are useless. However, being able to go in and use, whoops, let me select the web browser, the heads-up display to issue commands is pretty cool. Saving file, printing, whatever, history, right? I mean, that is what, the heads-up display is what makes Ubuntu amazing and awesome. And, if it's stable with your system, it's a good way to go. I just prefer Debian 8. Anyway, enough rambling with me. I'm going to check out Elementary OS Fria. I haven't checked that one out since it's been out, so I'll probably play around with that for a week before I do a quick video review. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take it easy.